Hello and welcome back to Breadakillen's Pro Gaming and Reviews. I'm Ben and today we're covering Donkey Kong Country. As this just released for the Nintendo Switch, I thought what better time to cover it than now. When you delve into the depths of video game history, some characters stand out miles above the rest. Of course Donkey Kong is one of them iconic figures, with tons of games under his belt. Becoming popular with arcades in the early 80s, Nintendo started taking the gaming world by force. Even with a string of classic arcade titles, this wasn't most people's first experience with Donkey Kong. It wasn't until 1994 when Donkey Kong really picked up his stride with Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo, becoming one of the most beloved characters in gaming history, with a little reboot of sorts from an English company by the name of Rare. Up to this point, Rare had made a few games for the Nintendo Entertainment System in the 80s, although none were as successful. When Donkey Kong Country released, it was praised heavily for its gameplay, music, and its use of pre-rendered graphics, which was fairly new technology for the time. Basically, Mortal Kombat had set the standard for fighting games visually, and Rare followed suit with surprising results. Pre-rendered graphics at the time were all the rage. This was the title that put Rare as a developer on the map and brought Donkey Kong back into the cultural limelight. From this point forward, if you saw the Rare logo on any game till the early 2000s, you were guaranteed a good game. Let's just say Rare never regained the popularity they had from this period with Nintendo. As they churned out hit after hit, here's a little example: Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye 007, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark. Honestly, the list goes on. But back to the actual game at hand, Donkey Kong Country has you play as the iconic gorilla and his little nephew, Diddy Kong, who is a monkey. Don't ask me how that works, but they are pals, alright? Not an actual family. The story is nothing elaborate. You find out that the dynamic duo had their banana hoard stolen by King K. Rool and his gang of Kremlins, who are reptilian lookalikes. The two make their way through 40 levels across Kong Island in their quest to reclaim what has been stolen and dish out some punishment to King K. Rool and retake the island. Your goal is to make it through all the levels in each part of the island and to progress your way to the end boss. Each part as you complete the levels within it and defeat a boss to progress to the next part of the island, which is themed perfectly. Starting from the Congo jungle, you will travel through treetops, mines, snow levels and industrial areas to make your way to King K. Rool's ship. As you could imagine, being a mid-90s platformer, the controls are not complicated. Run, jump, dodge enemies and collect things, although you can run faster after you roll if you hold down the button after pressing it. If you have ever played an old Mario game, this is pretty much the same thing, so it's pretty easy to get used to. One thing people forget is when you roll off an edge, you can jump in mid-air. It's hard to master, but is essential to being able to collect all the Kong letters in some later levels. This is clearly deliberate and is a clever way to teach you mechanics that are essential to the game. Each level will have you take out enemies and collecting bananas, extra life balloons, golden animal tokens and Kong letters. These Kong letters give you an extra life once completing the level. These Kong letters also go towards 100% completion if that's your cup of tea. While going through levels, you can find secret areas where you can play mini-games to gain the gold animal tokens or other items. The gold animal tokens are interesting as they give you access to the Kong's animal friends, if you collect 3 of a kind of course. This will take you to a level specifically for that animal where you can collect tokens to gain lives. These animals can be found sometimes within crates in certain levels, but not all the time in every level. When you get to use these animals, they act as a third life when you get hit and are placed in levels where you're most likely to use the animal. For example, you use the rhino in the jungle levels, the swordfish can be found in water levels, the parrot can help you through caverns with the lantern, so on and so forth. But the most overpowered one in the game by far is the ostrich, which gives you extra speed and jump height, and to top it all off, you can glide through the level by flapping your wings. Now one thing you'll notice is the size difference between Donkey and Diddy, and this is important. Donkey Kong can take out bigger enemies and Diddy can't. This makes switching between them essential to passing certain levels or being able to reach certain collectibles in hard to reach spots. Donkey Kong can slam the ground and roll, but is slower, whereas Diddy is quick and can do cartwheels, helping you to reach areas or dodge incoming hits. This isn't all, as Diddy Kong acts as a second life, but you'll need to find Diddy from a barrel first. If you get hit, the other will take off, meaning you want to find Diddy Kong or Donkey Kong as soon as possible to save the hassle of going back to a checkpoint after dying. You do come across other characters in your travels, from the aged Cranky Kong, who sometimes offers hints, Candy Kong, who if I might say looks a little bit racy, but offers save points if you jump in her magical floating barrel. The cool dude Funky Kong, who runs funky flights, handy for if you want to travel around the map and hit previous save points or harvest lives on levels you've already completed. Collecting 100 bananas will gain you a life, but if you lose all your lives it's game over. The nice thing is you will return to your last save point, and not many games had a save function at the time, so you wouldn't have had to finish the game all in one sitting, or use codes like previous generations. And what sort of game would it be if it didn't have multiplayer? You have the choice of choosing between 3 modes from the start screen, being 1 player, 2 player contest, and 2 player team. 1 player is evident, but 2 player contest has 2 separate Kong teams race to the end of the game with the best score, whereas 2 player team lets you both play at the same time and tag each other in. Honestly, this game is not a walk in the park when it comes to difficulty. Like most games, the first few worlds aren't too difficult, but by the end you'll be ripping your hair out if you didn't stack up on lives. Later levels rely on quick movement and perfect memory to pass the levels feeling like Super Meat Boy at times with the amount of times that you end up dying. The most brutal part of this game is the save points are far and few between, meaning you might have to finish 3 levels before finding Candy's save point. This is where you can get stuck in some areas. If you get a game over, you will start off with the default amount of lives and need to pass through some really hard levels in order to reach the next checkpoint, which is almost impossible sometimes. This is why using Funky's Travels is pretty much essential, and using it to go back to Candy's save points and go to levels that you've already completed to stack up on lives. The inspiration from Mario games can be pretty obvious, from the side-scrolling platforming to the fact that you collect 100 bananas to gain extra lives. This is not a bad thing at all. Rare took a winning formula and turned it into something original. To this day, arguments over the game's graphic style still happen. You either love it or you think it looks a bit tacky. Nonetheless, it still became the 3rd best-selling game on the console, which is a testament to how successful it was at the time. Besides the difficulty, I don't really have any complaints about this game. Putting nostalgia aside, it holds up well even to this day. With solid platforming and relentless gameplay, I'll be giving this an 8 out of 10. This has been Ben from Beretta Killins Pro Gaming and Reviews, signing out. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, it's much appreciated. We have more reviews you can check out over on our channel, or if you want to check us out on our socials, you can head on over to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel for future videos. Thanks.